Regardless of how late it was last night, I think it is safe to say that virtually the entire civilized world, myself included, anyone who had a TV or access to a computer, was tuned in to listen to what President Trump had to say last night during the last night of the 2024 Republican convention. But when the camera panned out to show the crowd, I saw something and I thought, oh my gosh, when they see this, it's going to be all they talk about tomorrow. But nobody's talking about it. I had to go back and rewind it and look at it again. And yep, it was there. When I show you this, people are going to scratch their heads. Jaws are going to hit the floor. How did we all miss this? How did we not see this? Personally, I think it's the effect that occurs when people get so emotionally wrapped up in a person, they become blind. How many people have known a friend who met someone that they were entirely enamored with and they could not see what was going on? The person was toxic. Now, I'm not saying that Donald Trump was toxic last night, but I do think the emotional attachment people have to what's going on right now is, wait till I show you this. You're not going to believe it. But real quick, we're going to put up a brand new video over at Patreon next 24 to 48 hours to show something in a different light that we have shown before. A prediction we made 2 years ago has come true. And when you see it and you look at what's going on, you're going to wonder why more people aren't waking up to this. It truly is what happens when people get too emotionally attached to what's going on. It's a battlefield of the mind. When the mind disengages and the heart takes over, you are powerless. And I'm sure everybody knows that. Yeah, my friend Bob, he met this girl and we tried to talk to him. We tried to talk to him and say, look, she's gonna be bad for you, man. But he wouldn't listen. And it goes the other way too. There are a lot of women who look back at the times that they went back over and over and over again to a guy who was clearly toxic, not ready for a relationship. And they tried. Lost a lot of time. If you'd like to join us over at the Florida Maquis Patreon channel, it's only $1 per month. Even less if you sign up for an entire year. Fully refundable. First 90 days, no questions asked. Hundreds and hundreds of videos. Believe me, it's the kind of thing that people need to know. Now, real quick. In the dark colony, pay attention to that word, of night, when I consider man's magnificent capacity for malice, madness, folly, envy, rage, and destructiveness, and I wonder whether we shall not end up as breakfast for newts and polyps, I seem to hear the muffled cries of all the words in all the books with covers closed. You see, there was a time when people could read books and take things away from it that changed their lives. But the actual idea of holding a physical book and reading it, that's gone. Now it's just point, click, look, and get emotional. Malice, madness, folly, envy, rage, all of these things. Florida Maquis, you said you saw something. What was it? Real simple. Where were the drones? You see, yesterday in the lead up to this final night of the convention, Fox News and other outlets bemoaned and decried what happened on Saturday as this massive failure of the Secret Service. Where were the drones? Where were the drones? But what did you see, Maquis? What did you see? Real simple. Here's what I saw. I saw thousands and thousands of people showing the government exactly what the government needed to do to get them to willingly disarm themselves. Wait, what are you talking about? I guarantee there wasn't a single person, not one single person in this crowd that had a weapon. See, just like at Trump's rally, everybody in the crowd had been disarmed. You weren't allowed to carry weapons in there. That's why the shooter was, quote unquote, outside the perimeter. And in here, this is what it takes for people who are super pro Second Amendment and want their guns to take their guns, put them in the proper locker at home or whatever they do to secure them, and then go drive and come all together in one place, completely disarmed. You will willingly disarm yourselves if it gives you an opportunity to put your hands up in the air, tears streaming down your face, in idolatrous worship of a man. They now know what it takes to get you. But what about the drones, Monkey? What are you talking about drones? We remember the quote? Who remembers Colony? The series from long ago that once again has been prophetic. You see, they had this huge fleet, and I mean hundreds of thousands of these drones that flew around day and night in the series, keeping people in line, enforcing curfews, recording activities, and, on occasion, ending people when necessary. Those of you who think I'm kidding about it in real life, here are the top stories. 2 days ago, the wiretap. Where were the drones during the Trump assassination? Newsweek, 1 day ago. Secret Service, not using drones to monitor Trump rally under security. Investors Business Daily, Secret Service failure at Trump rally propels Axon stock on drone opportunity. And Senator Ted Cruz, where were the drones at the Trump rally? Shouldn't we have heavily armed and armored drones working in conjunction with former military, people we know that are loyal, people we know that have sworn the oath, to patrol our streets in the name of safety? Day and night, 24/7, 365, keeping an eye on everybody. Oh, and not just with a camera. We're going to get to this a little bit later. Specific kinds of cameras that can see through things. See through things like what you're wearing. And boy, I tell you what, when they discover something that might possibly be construed as a possible threat, or somebody saying something that might be interpreted as something someone else could interpret as a threat, they're going to roll out. They're going to roll out. And they're going to hop out of their vehicles. Oh, and don't kid yourself. There will be weapons. There will be weapons. A lot of people think they're going to get rid of all weapons. No, the people who are loyal, who have bent the knee, who have pledged the allegiance, oh, they're going to have weapons for sure. And they're going to grab up people off the street, and nobody else is going to say a word about it. You know why? Well, we don't want anything like what almost happened to Trump to happen again. This guy's getting picked up. He must have done something. You see, Trump's president now, and it would never be the case that the government under Trump would ever possibly abuse its power. That would never happen. You're going to take them people for a ride. You're not arrested. You're not arrested. You're being detained. How many of you love that when a police officer puts somebody in cuffs and sets them on the sidewalk and takes away their car keys? It says, you're not arrested. No, you're not arrested. You're just being detained. That's right. You're just being detained. That's why I don't have to Mirandize you and inform you of your rights, because even though you're in handcuffs and you can't go anywhere and you're sitting down on a curb and I have your car keys, you're not arrested. You're detained. And randomly they will find people and use some enhanced tactics to perhaps get them to talk about what they might know. And if they think they know things that they're not revealing, well, they'll just drag them off somewhere and have more conversations with them, where, of course, they will then eventually give up information that they'll give then to other red hats. Now, before anyone says, well, they made this because of the Trump thing, this series, Colony, where all of these images are coming from, came out years before Trump even acknowledged that he was even considering running for president. red hats. Yeah, they're going to go find people. They're going to go find your loved ones who may be more useful, maybe a little bit more pliable. They're going to go find others and, they're going to give them some options. Options that may not seem so savory if they ever want to see their kids again. See, we had somebody say something who said something to somebody else who then reported something, and then they posted something, and it made us think that maybe you might not be who we think you are. Random checkpoints. Boy, I tell you what, that would help. That would really deter a lot of disloyalty. We don't want to see what happened to Trump happen again, do we? Or almost. Whew. Boy, I tell you what, we were so close to losing all hope for America, weren't we? Because of one man. Because of what might have possibly happened to one man. We better get everyone pledging allegiance, like Trump said last night, by the way. We need everyone to help restore our military. Restore them. And those, when your time's up in the military, don't worry. We will have a military-like job for you when you come home. We find people that we need to have conversations with. They better cooperate. You better cooperate. You must want to see something bad happen to Trump, don't you? Don't you? And if you think I'm overstating the case, how about we hop into the Wayback Machine? Take a little trip through history? All the way back to 2018? I like taking guns early. Take the guns first. Go through due process second. And you can look this up. If you think I'm reporting false information here, or I'm making some kind of a leap, here's the actual tweet. 5:13 a.m., 22 February 2018, at Real Donald Trump, back when it was Twitter. I will be strongly pushing comprehensive background checks with an emphasis on mental health, raise age to 21, and end sale of bump stocks. Congress is in a mood to finally do something on this issue, I hope. Isn't it funny how the whole bump stock thing is now not a thing? Now, those of you who have taken issue with, first of all, me even having a Patreon channel or pushing it, or what's shown there, believe me, you are the kind of people who want the red hats kicking indoors. You are the kind of people that want people detained. How many of you remember the scene from The Patriot, where Benjamin Martin's son, when they're hiding out in the swamp, has a problem with some of the men in their McKee militia group that is rebelling against the crown? They have some appetites, I guess, that are a little unsavory to him. He hasn't been around men like this. And he says to his father, "Father, these men, they're not the sort we need." And his father, having fought in the French and Indian War and done some things that were, well, I guess not so savory, he looked at his son and said, "They're exactly the sort we need." Make no mistake. Hear my words. If it ever gets to the point where we need to pick up weapons and restore liberty in this country, you better hope and pray that we have men left with some, I guess what you would describe as not so savory predilections. Guys that really like images like this. And perhaps even women that don't necessarily have a problem with men who enjoy images like that. Because believe me, those are the kind of men and women we're going to need. The ones that aren't offended at every little thing. You better hope and pray that if we're at that point, that we have lots and lots of men who really enjoy these kind of images. Because if they're that other kind of men, we have no hope. and by other kind of men, I'll let you do the biblical leap on what I'm talking about. Robert E. Lee. True patriotism is sometimes requires of men to act exactly contrary at one period to that which it does at another. And the motive which impels them, the desire to do right, is precisely the same. Patriotism means to stand with the country. It does not mean to stand with the president. It doesn't mean to stand with the president. And all we saw last night, unlike at any other convention of any kind that I've ever seen, was the singular worship of a single individual, not ideas, those came later in the speech. The different policies of, with immigration, with the military, and all that. Yeah, everybody kind of yawned at those. Everybody got bored at that part. Boy, but when it came down to the singular adoration of one man and his being here or not being here. Reagan got shot. Did Reagan come out and make some long speech talking about how America was almost ended because he was? Did Reagan come out and make some speech? And believe me, his wound was far more serious. Far, far more serious. He got hit at close range. And there was a guy that got put in a wheelchair. Brady. That's why we have the Brady bill, by the way. He didn't come out and say, boy, America, we almost lost all hope for our future because of what happened to me. And now that Trump's going to be the most useful thing ever. They're going to use this. They are going to use this to seize people, to take people away, to rendition people. And you're going to stand by and you're going to applaud. Because you think it's your guy doing it. And they come busting out of their vehicles, weapons drawn. And they start picking people up and tossing them in the back. And you're going to sit there like these people did. You're not going to ask questions. You're going to mind your own business. Walking down the street and you're going to see this, you're going to keep walking. You don't care. Because these, of course, might be Americans you disagree with politically. You don't like politically. You see them running down the lawn. Oh, honey, wait, hold on. Grab little Poopsie. I know it's our normal walk time for the dog. We need to get out of the way. Donald Trump is making America safe again. See if it's a liberal or a Democrat or maybe somebody who said, you know what, I'm sitting out. I'm not voting. Believe me, the government will find ways. The government will find ways to get information from people. Oh, look, honey. Look at those red hats. I bet they say MAGA on them somewhere. I bet they do. I bet they have MAGA on those patches. They're making America safe again. I'll bet you that van they're stopping there, I bet it's full of illegals. I bet it's full of MS-13 gang members. I'll bet you it is, even though MS-13 was actually created in jails in California. It wasn't created in Central America, but I digress. Boy, I tell you what, those people get out, they better pledge allegiance. And I tell you what, you shouldn't wait for them to draft you. You shouldn't wait for them to draft you. You should just go right now and sign up. I can't wait for Trump to be president. He's going to fix their little red wagons. He's going to round those people up and disarm them. That's right. You take those guns. You just take the heck out of those guns. age 21. Hasn't President Trump seen any actuarial tables from insurance companies? You can go ahead and look up what that is, by the way, an actuarial table. We should raise the age to 25. And then the sale of magazines that hold more than 3 rounds. Because the shooter got off 5 or 6. You don't want what almost happened to Donald Trump to happen again, do you? But anyway, over at Patreon, we're going to talk about something else. Something else drone related that I don't think a lot of people are going to like. And yeah, over at the Patreon channel, there are men and women, that Benjamin Martin's son might have thought that, you know what, these aren't the sort of people we need. These aren't the good ones. You better hope. You better hope and you better pray that we have men and women who aren't little snowflakes that lose their mind every time they see some girl in a bikini or some image that offends their little sensibilities. Because make no mistake, you see, this is actually tied to the drones. How could that possibly? Trust me, technology is one of those funny things. It gets smaller and smaller and more compact. What would you think of 150,000 drones over a major city that had the ability to look right through whatever, brick walls, clothing, and make incredibly detailed images? We kind of make this seem silly now, doesn't it? But the bigger idea is this. Life is like a fire. It changes constantly, flickering high and low. Sometimes it burns brightly, and other times it's nothing but a smoldering ember. It's up to you to stoke the fire and make it burn as brightly as possible before it burns out. Alan Walsh, a book, Blood and Fear. Great book. I will leave it there. Make no mistake. We are on a battlefield right now. And there are people so emotionally caught up in politics, they can't even see it. You can't even participate in the battlefield of the mind until you're in your mind. You want to get read in? You want information that's critical to keeping you from getting overly emotional? Join us, Florida Maquis Patreon channel. It's a single US dollar per month. And even less if you sign up for an entire year. God bless. Pray for each other. Pray for me, I'll pray for you. Lift each other up. Like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.